huge age range, but this wasn't really surprising to me. I expected this. What was really a surprise to me is some of the other emails. I'll give you some examples. There was an international school in Thailand, and the teacher sent us an email, and there were application letters of all the students in his class, 11 and 12-year-old boys and girls, and they sent very serious application letters. They knew that they couldn't go, of course, because they knew that they were too young. But they were really triggered by our idea to write very good motivation letters. I should go because I do a lot of sports, I'm very healthy, or I should go because I play an instrument, and in such an environment so far away from Earth, you need that for comfort. Really good motivational letters from 11 and 12-year-old girls. I find it difficult to write a good motivation letter. Another example is a guy from the UK who emailed us, I quit my studies some time ago, and I'm considering starting my studies again because now I see the point. And I don't know if he actually did it, but just receiving these kinds of emails is amazing. There was one man from the US who wrote that he was 65 years old and very much overweight. And he went to the drugstore to ask advice to lose weight because he wanted to be still alive when this happens, and we gave him the hope that this could be possible. It's really amazing if the project that you started for your own selfish reasons receives these kinds of emails from all over the world. And I believe that this is really something that we need. We need something to look out to, something to aspire. One newsreader who interviewed me told me after the interview, I wish he said it during the interview, we really need a big project like this, a big optimistic project for the news, because in the news there's only economic crisis, terrorist attack, wars. We need something to give the people that's very big and very optimistic, such that they have something to talk about the next day. I really hope that Mars One can be this project. If you're interested in supporting us, please join our mailing list, go to our website, make sure that you keep up to date. Tell all your friends about it. And there's some really exciting news coming. We have a press conference planned this Monday in New York. And we're going to make a very big announcement around the astronaut application process. So if you subscribe to the newsletter, you get a link to the live feed, and you'll get the latest news. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that there's a few questions, because I like to take some questions from the audience. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you guys. Please take a seat. Yes, I really would like to go to Mars, but is it possible to get ticket back? Just to go for 1 week?
It's the technology to get humans from Mars back to Earth really does not exist yet. So the most important thing is that the rockets that we have here on Earth are not big enough to send the components for the return rocket to Mars. And then from the moon it was a lot simpler, because the journey from the moon back to Earth is only 3 days. So you need to bring only food and water and oxygen for 3 days. But for the return mission from Mars, you need a lot of that. And that combination, having these big rockets and the supplies that you need for the return mission, makes it really impossible to go back. So I'm sorry, you will have to stay there.
So you are planning to live there?
Well, it was my goal to go there myself. And for me, the one-way ticket was really no issue at all. And right now it is, because I have a girlfriend and I don't want to leave her behind. But when I didn't have a girlfriend, it was really for me no problem at all. It's such a big opportunity, it's such a big adventure that you go on. And for me it was really, the lack of a return journey is no problem at all. And don't forget, we've received more than 10,000 emails from people who all understand that it's a one-way mission.
Don't you think that our life is too short? Have you explored everything in the Earth? Have you been in Greenland or Antarctica? Or you don't like snow or skiing?
No, but I think that the adventure of going to Mars is that no one has ever been there before. And there have been many people who went to Antarctica and many people that went to Greenland. This is really, and it's not just about the new place, it's also about the step. Going to Antarctica is a very exciting adventure in your own life, but going to Mars is an adventure for humankind. And to be part of that adventure, I think that's a stimulation for a lot of people to be interested in it.
Is it real that in 2022 we will have some landing in Mars? What do you think? Just 9 years left.
The reason that we can do it in such a short time scale is really that we use only existing technology. So we've tried to, we've discussed with our suppliers, not just the budgets and not just if it's possible, but also the timelines. And of course suppliers, they always exaggerate a little bit how good they are and how fast they can do things. So we've checked with our advisors who know about these things, who have the technical expertise to check what our suppliers are promising. And we really believe that what we propose is possible, that the budgets and the timelines are realistic. Of course, it's a very complex project, and many things can go wrong. So it's very possible that there will be delays, but if things don't go dramatically wrong, then the timeline that we present is really possible.
But why you have chosen Mars? We have other planets, and you are a crazy man, so I think you can do it.
Well, there's only really two opportunities to go. There's the Moon and Mars. Venus is really not the place where you want to be. It's hot. There's high pressures. It rotates around the sun in more than 200 days. So there's a 100-day night on Venus. It's not a really nice place to be. And then beyond Mars, there's Jupiter, and it's just really too far away. Then there's the choice between the Moon and Mars. And for a few reasons, I think that Mars is more interesting. Mars is much more suitable for permanent settlement, to really stay there. Because Mars has water, so you don't have to bring water from Earth to use it on Mars. Mars has an atmosphere, so it protects you against small meteoroids that fly around in space, and protects you against radiation. Mars has a day of almost the same length as the Earth. It's 24 hours and just 40 minutes. So you have a nice 12-hour day and a nice 12-hour night. You can use solar panels. The Moon doesn't have the atmosphere. It has a night that is 15 days long because it rotates around its axis in 30 days. It doesn't protect you against radiation. So there's some technical reasons why the Moon is not as easy as Mars, and Mars is actually easier to live than the Moon. But there's another really important reason. We have to finance this mission. I don't have 6 billion here in my pocket. So we need a plan that can attract the interest of as many people as possible, hopefully the entire world. Because otherwise you cannot finance it. And if we would propose a mission to the Moon, which would probably be a return mission, then it would be something that has already been done. So the interest from the general audience, from the large audience on this planet would be much less, and there would simply be no way to finance it. Even if it might be a little bit cheaper than going to Mars, it would be more difficult to finance it.
Okay, imagine, Bas, today is a day in Mars. What you could do? What is your leisure time in Mars?
Well, I think the life on Mars will look a lot like an Earth day. You get up in the morning, you have your breakfast. A very large fraction of the day will be spent on growing food, which is something that was also the case on Earth quite some time ago. And especially when there's just 4 people, it's a lot of work to grow food for 4 people, while it's almost the same amount of work to grow food for 8 people, because you need to do the same actions. So the more people are there, the less time they spend on producing food. But in the beginning, there will be a lot of time spent on that. And then, of course, they will want to explore. They will want to see what is there on Mars. They will want to bring rocks into the habitat and investigate them under a microscope. They will want to do all kinds of chemical tests on them. They will want to look around. They will want to do research for people on Earth who ask them questions and say, can you please look into this? So it will be a normal working day, a little bit composed between a researcher, an explorer, and a geologist basically, and a farmer. Then in the evening they will do a lot of the same things that we do here on Earth. Some people say, well, you cannot go out anymore. But how often do we really go out? I mean, very often you spend your whole working day inside. At night maybe you watch some TV. They can also watch TV on Mars. They will have to determine beforehand what they want to see because they have to order it and we can send it to Mars. But they can watch TV, they can play video games, they can do board games. All the things that we can do inside on Earth, they can do on Mars.
Okay, I see that we have some time left. Do we have some questions? Right here. Just raise hand, please. Yes, I'll try to be quick.
2050, what will be there? Do you have a plan what is your plan to the future and how far it reach?
Well, as I already said, what we're planning now, so sending the first 4 people to Mars and the second 4 people is already a huge project, and it will take until 2025 when we have the second group of 4 people on Mars. I'll just stand up, it's easier to look at you. What happens after that, we don't look at it in a lot of detail because it depends so much on what rocket will be developed next, what technologies become available. But some of the really important things that we would like to have on Mars as soon as possible is production of energy production systems. So can we find some technology which doesn't exist yet to produce solar panels or algae growing equipment on Mars with Martian materials? Or another really important thing would be living volume. Could we build a larger structure on Mars? The inflatable sections that we have are 4 meters in diameter, so it's spacious, but it's not really big. Maybe on Mars we can build a dome with a diameter of 20 meters, and that's maybe the length of this room. That would be really something where you can grow trees and really build a nicer place to live. Because as I said, they're living there. They're not just staying there. What happens after that is so difficult to estimate that I won't go into that because it will always be completely wrong. But what I really hope is that by 2050, the people on Mars will have declared their independence. I think that would be the biggest party ever.
The question was partially answered, to be honest, already, but I wanted to ask about the biggest constraints right now to make the trip possible as the first stage.
Right now, that's finances. So we know that the technology exists. If we had the money, we could really do it. We know that the business model that we have, the audience, the whole world as an audience, that's a viable business model. And we've talked to a lot of experts on that, and 6 billion for us, normal human beings, it sounds like a lot of money, but if you compare it to the revenue of the Olympics or the revenue of other big companies, then it's really nothing. The long-term business model is not the problem, but the big issue is we need to get this money now, or in the next few years, to finance the hardware that needs to be there before the humans are there, while the big interest of the audience will be in 2022 when the first crew leaves to Mars, and in 2023 when they walk on Mars. So that there will be the big revenues, while the expenditures are before that. So we need to find sponsors and investors who will help us bridge that gap, and that will be our biggest challenge.
The question would be also around the risks, I mean, as a challenges for the trip.
About the what, sorry, the race?
Have you already identified the risks of traveling? I mean, the trip itself, not only establishing the colony, but the trip itself.
Well, the trip itself is something that we already do in a very similar way in the International Space Station. So a Dutch astronaut, André Kuipers, just returned from a trip to the International Space Station. And he was there for more than 6 months, while the trip to Mars is 7 months. So it's around about the same length. And these are things that humans have been doing for a long time. And in the Mir space station, they stayed for, the longest stay has been much longer than that. So the trip to Mars will be long. It will be a long time in a small capsule, but it will not be something that's technically extremely challenging. It will be psychologically, for the people inside, it will be challenging. but not much more than a trip to the International Space Station.
Don't you think you will be pushed by big companies, the ones who will invest, who you will choose to go to Mars first? Like, if you choose someone from USA or from China, you will get, of course, more people who will be interested in the project. So, will it be actually random, or you actually think it will be pushed by, basically?
No, actually, I was hoping this question would come. So we'll start the astronaut application procedure quite soon. But in our website you can find the first half of 2013. What we will do is we'll give everybody the opportunity to apply online. Our experts will determine from these applications who is suitable and who is not suitable. From the people who are suitable, they will meet with the selection committee in their nation. So a couple of locations in the US, in China, one in Holland probably, one in Lithuania, if we have enough applications from here, so all apply. And there the committee will interview the people and will determine are you qualified or are you not qualified. The qualified people will go to the next round, and in this round there will be only qualified people left. So there we will ask the national audiences, so we hope to have TV shows in every country where the national audience determines who is their ambassador to Mars. Then after the national audiences there will be a number of national winners, but we will need more people than that. So from the people who did not win, our selection committee will also select a few. So maybe if there's no TV show in Lithuania, then our selection committee can still say, but this Lithuanian person is really good, so we want him in the teams. Then from all these people, our experts will create teams together with the people, because the people need to like the team that they are in, of course. And these teams will compete. And finally, before launch, we will ask, our experts will determine which of the teams are ready, because they'll train for 7 years, they learn all the skills they need, but some teams might be ready and some teams might not be ready yet. And from the teams that are ready, we will ask the audience of the world, vote for your favorite team, who will be the envoys of mankind to the next planet. So if in that it matters, the composition of the team is important, and it will be a democratic system, but I think that if you are from a big country, then you